Is the housing market horrible for everyone, or is it just us?
Yeah.
We've been married for almost 2 years.
You have to change your last name.
I have not changed my last
but
name.
But you have a get out of jail free card.
What scheduling conflict do you have at 9 o'clock at night?
I cannot dedicate an hour of my nights every night. I just can't watch every minute of every episode.
You sound like Tom Sandoval right now.
No, that's not what I mean. Maybe it is, maybe it is not. Maybe.
Well, hello, little Dave and Marie.
Hello, we're back.
Why do you insist on wearing the bucket hat?
Because I saw another good trend on Love Island this week. Please remind me his
We
name.
have made it 10 seconds into the podcast and David is clapping his feet. 10 seconds.
Okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. What's his name? The pool guy from Florida?
Austin.
Is it Austin? So I got it right when we were talking about it. I saw him do his confessional with his hat on.
On Love Island.
On Love Island. And this is what I wear when I golf sometimes. So this is an ode, a little bit to Rob, but also to Austin.
I was going to say, you're not as deeply invested in Love Island as I am, but I don't necessarily know that Austin is the guy that you should be imitating at this current moment in time.
I know, I get that. From what I know, I understand why you would be saying that. But you know what? I'm just all for the character.
Yeah, I've tried to get David to watch Love Island season 7 as intently as I am. Coming off the heels of season 6, blockbuster season. You didn't see it, but the Beyond the Villa trailer dropped today. You know, the spinoff that the season 6ers are getting.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so I'll have to show you that later. But you're not as invested in Love Island as I am.
Unfortunately, it's just been a clash of schedules.
It has not.
Babe, I have been we went on vacation.
It started this week. It's been out for 1 week.
I know, but
And we watch it at 9 p.m.
I'm going away for work on Wednesday morning. I'm not going to be back until late Saturday night. Things just, I can't.
What scheduling conflict do you have at 9 o'clock at night?
I cannot dedicate an hour of my nights every night. And I will. I'm getting into it. I'm getting some recaps. I hear it on in the background. I just can't watch every minute of every episode.
You sound like Tom Sandoval right now.
No, that's not what I mean. It's not like, I want to watch it. It's just... It's a busy time right now. The house thing, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yeah.
We started looking at houses last week. We had to do a bunch of paperwork and documentation for pre-approval on a home loan.
It has nothing to do with your schedule, and it has everything to do with what you want to spend that hour between 9 and 10 o'clock. And this is interesting because we're having similar experiences with opposing TV shows. So David and I are watching 2 shows right now, one of which being Love Island USA, and the other one being a show called The Better Sister. It's like a murder mystery, trying to find out who done it or whatever. Amazon
Prime, Jessica Biel.
Yeah, Jessica Biel. And I always forget, is it Kate McKinnon, I think is her name?
I can't remember. You knew that better
I think that's who it is. Actually, no, I don't think that's who it is. Anyways, it doesn't matter. We watch them back to back, and what happens is during The Better Sister, I'm scrolling on Zillow, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, and then something really big happens, and I'm like, oh, David, what did I miss? And you're like, babe, you gotta go back.
Because you're saying it's too slow. I don't think it's slow at all. It's just it's one of those setups where it's all gonna, if it doesn't have this big crescendo, then it'll suck.
Exactly.
But up until that point, you have to give it a chance.
But
Take in all the details.
I don't want to wait 6 episodes for it to get good,
But that's, like the end of the 3rd episode or the 4th episode we just watched, like a little hint of something big that's going to happen happened.
Okay, but back to my point is when your show's on, I'm scrolling. When my show is on, you're scrolling. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't have the hours in a day to watch The Better Sister with you because it's not a scheduling conflict.
I was willing to watch Love Island last night, but it didn't start until 9 p.m. And we sat down to watch TV at 8 p.m. So too bad.
We watch TV every night.
And for the sake of your career, you can't watch yesterday's Love Island today.
True.
You have to watch it when it happens.
I know. Our girl Beldasha went home yesterday.
Yeah, that was... am I surprised?
No, we're not surprised. She didn't need to be on that show. She wasn't meant for that show.
Yeah, I don't think so.
She wasn't going to find her mans in that, setting. But you did miss.
Nick was guns blazing.
Yeah.
And she was not.
What you did miss was she came out of her shell during a challenge.
I heard that. I was working and I heard Bella! Everybody going crazy.
I hate the challenges. I sometimes fast forward.
Yeah, you're not a fan of I can't even hold your hand in public, let alone do a challenge where you're rolling around in mud and all you hear is...
I hate it. Ugh, it's disgusting.
You love a kiss cam on Love Island.
But anyways, she went all out. And my hot take about Bella and Nick at the beginning was he's not as into her because she's not physical. And I said, as soon as somebody comes in and shows him that physicality that he's wanting, his head's going to turn. That's exactly what happened. And then I feel like she felt pressure to be oh, well, I have to show him some physicality. Otherwise, I'm going to get left behind, which I think is sad,
Yeah, it is sad. And I mean, respect to her for coming in there with her morals and not coming out the gate doing what she thinks everybody wants. But like you said, maybe not the best strategy for the show.
Okay, other than Love Island, David and I are deep in the house hunt. You start because you're the one that did all the paperwork, which the admin last week made me want to just not ever buy a house.
The thing is that applying for a home loan, okay, we applied to be pre-approved. This is home buying 101 here. And the process of being pre-approved actually isn't that difficult if you have a job. Fortunately, I'm employed, so we didn't have to go down a whole self-employment rabbit hole that you have. But we just had to supply a lot of documents. So all it meant...
I'm bad with the documents.
You are so bad with the documents.
I don't know if I legit have ADHD or something, but when I get an admin document like that, something major like a home loan, I physically can't read it. It'll show up on my computer screen and I'll just stare at the words and I'm I don't know what this says.
It was all they wanted was the last 60 days of bank statements from whatever bank accounts that you've got money in.
Way too much reading. I have to go to however many different bank account websites and get my statements.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is it's because you got your business, you got our personal, you got our joint.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So we had to do a lot of document gathering.
You did, thank you, David.
Which we did, and shout out to our mortgage officer person, whatever you call them, broker. She was super helpful. Great UX.
Oh, tell us about the UX, Dave.
Way to get me to become a customer. United Airlines have done it to me, and the mortgage company we're using. Smooth online web portal, told me where I was in the steps, didn't have any errors. If I uploaded something and then you went, it would say, David's already uploaded this, so you don't have to do it. For example, I put how much we currently pay rent, and then it said, Morgan can just put 0 because you've put the rent amount. Just good little UX details. Spoiler alert, that's what I do for a living, so it got me excited. So that process was actually smoother than I thought, besides having to get the documents. But then it becomes real because they send you a pre-approval letter and it's okay, now you can start looking for houses.
Yeah.
And you and I look at each other okay, we'll go look at houses now.
And I have said this to you multiple times, so this is not going to come as a surprise to you. But I do feel like this is just the next big shiny thing.
Oh, for sure.
That you have your eye on. And I don't want to rush the process of buying a house because you hyperfixate.
Well, the thing is that I've been ready for this moment for a long time.
Yeah.
I've been looking at the market since December last year. And one thing I spoke about in previous episodes is you've got to know what a good deal is. And I feel like I know that now. The problem is I have a problem where the problem is that I have a problem that I always think something is a deal and you're never going to get it again.
Yeah, you do have that problem.
So, for example, we've seen a couple of houses come up and I'm in my mind, this is it.
Yeah.
We better do it.
And there's never going to be another house to hit the market ever.
And the thing is we want to live in this house for a minimum of 5 years, probably 10.
Yeah.
Possibly longer.
Yeah.
You know, so got to make a slow decision.
David is the dreamer. I'm like the comeback to earther,
The
I
risk
would
averse.
say. But I also just feel like, you know, when I see something I like, I'm going to know that I like it. Which we looked at houses for the first time together this weekend.
We saw 4 in one day.
We saw 4 houses. And I just, walking around every single one of them, I'm like, this isn't my house, you know?
Yeah.
And I went into it with no preconceived notions, where you, on the other hand...
Yeah. No, I understand what you mean about that feeling. And I've done so much apartment shopping in London when I was looking for places to rent. And I mean, we did that here as well. And I can totally relate to that feeling. You just know when it's the one you're going to make an offer on or try and rent, whatever it is. And I don't think we've had that yet.
Yeah.
But we've been so close on 2 of them.
Yeah.
2 of them,
true.
we were like, they're so close to being good for us that it's hard to ignore. But we'll keep you updated. We've looked at 4. I'm going away for work, so I don't know if we're going to be able to look at much this week. Give us any tips if you've been through this process.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of our friends have said they wrote personal letters to when they made offers.
That seems a bit extra, because you do have to fight like tooth and nail, because we've also had a lot of friends tell us, like, you'll put in multiple offers on different houses and you won't end up getting the house. And so we're like, well, how do we make sure that they like us the best? Like, and someone told you to write a letter?
Yeah, pretty much saying who you are, like why the home is good for you. Because if someone has 2 offers that they can't distinguish which is better, same amount, same contingencies, same inclusions, exclusions, whatever it is, you're then just going to pick the person that you like, I guess.
That's true.
So I feel like we have a good story. Like, we met in college. I recently immigrated.
Yeah.
We're first-time home buyers. We're looking to like take that step. We've been renting our whole lives. Someone should pull the heartstrings, you know, and just be like, you can have it.
The same love letter that got you out of trouble at border security getting to the United States
could get us a house.
We should give that same love letter to whoever we're trying to buy our
or
house
just
from.
Send them episode 2 where we explained how we met.
Yeah, that's true. What I want to know is the housing market horrible for everyone, or is it just us?
Yeah, please send us a comment. Send us a
No, it's
pigeon,
crazy.
whatever.
It's crazy
so
out here. And it's not like we live in this, like, you know, we're not in Beverly Hills. We're in Northeast Ohio. And you're telling me you want $600,000 for something that's newer?
Right.
It's crazy.
3 months of good weather, 2 months of okay weather, and probably 6 to 7 months of pretty bad weather.
Yeah.
And we can't find anything that is like desirable for the next 10 years below $500,000.
Yeah, anything that is like between 400 and 500, I look at it and I'm like, oh, like the price is a little bit better, but then we're like,
built
there's
in 1965.
so much stuff that you would have to do to it. It's like,
gotta paint,
why am I looking at a house that costs $450,000? It has pink carpet and floral wallpaper and wood trim around every door that's like ugly brown wood. Like,
it's really demoralizing. It truly is. And I keep comparing to what we could buy in South Africa. We could buy like a mansion on the beach.
I keep comparing what we could buy in Florida.
Yeah,
we could be on the canal with our own dock, with the in-ground pool, with like 5 bedrooms for what we could get floral wallpaper here. I don't get it.
Fort Myers, Florida has got some insanely beautiful houses for like $350. And in Ohio, you've got to pay $550 plus to have something that doesn't need updating.
Yeah. We did really like house number 1 that we went to this week, but it's just out of our budget, way too big for us. It has a whole like in-law suite.
Right.
And again, David trying to like rationalize it. He's like,
I
oh,
can.
Morgan, you can just use that as your whole little side studio. You can have your studio, you can have your makeup room, you can have like your own little closet. And I'm like, David, it's 4 rooms
Continue.
too big for us. And we don't need to be spending an extra $100,000 to be like, oh, well, this will be nice. You know, like it's not something that we need.
I know. And because it is so overpriced, I keep thinking how good of a house you could get for that price if it was smaller.
Yeah.
Like it would be in a better location. It would have a bigger yard or something like that. But let me just paint this picture for you. Imagine if we did have that house that is too much house. Mm-hmm. How much more creative you could get. Like we could set up.
How much more money could you spend what you're saying to me right now.
Go down this trip with me here. Imagine you walk into this space, you open a door that is purely about creating. You have a background that you could do photo shoots on. You have the couches set up to record a podcast. You have your individual podcast set up with the camera that can just swivel to one set to the other. You've got a kitchen that you can use just when you feel like you're working, coffee, all of that. You've got a bathroom that's in your work area. You've got giant walk-in closets where you can put all the equipment, so none of this crap can be sitting in my office all the time. I just think I know what you mean. I agree it's too much. But if something like that sits on the market for too long because they're asking too much and they're willing to accept a lower offer, I just think that the flexibility and the things that we could do, we can make it work.
We're keeping our eye on it.
That's a nervous foot up.
That's a nervous foot raise right there, number one.
If you never watched us on YouTube and you're just listening on Spotify or Apple right now, just watch one episode and count how many times I lift my feet.
The problem is that David wants to live on a farm.
I do, and a new one came up this week, and I'm like, that is so nice. I just don't know how I'm going to mow 2.5 acres of yard.
Literally, he sent me this house. It's $500,000. Okay. It's insane. It's not new. Like I said, the market here is just so weird. It was built in 1994.
It wasn't built in like the 60s at least.
But the thing you liked about it is that how many acres is it?
2.57.
And the first thing I asked him is, who's going to mow that lawn? And he said, good question.
I agree. I'm not debating that. I think that. And I asked ChatGPT, how much does it cost to maintain a lawn of 2.5 acres? And it said approximately, if you do it yourself, it can be under $100 a month. But if you paid someone to do it, it would be about $400 a month.
What?
Because think about it, you'd need to cut it 3 to 4 times a month. It would probably be $100 a session.
So if we end up on a farm, if that is God's will for our life.
Though. It's 6 minutes to the most major highway in this area.
If we end up on however many acres you want for your heart to be content, you are taking care of the lawn care.
I mean, I've got the hat.
Otherwise, you don't really want it.
I know. I want to go look at it so that I can either dispel or accept.
He would be running around in the backyard. He would be planning where his golf hole is going to go, because that was another thing while we were looking at the houses. He's like, oh, I could put a little golf hole here.
And it's all nice and dandy now because it's summer. Imagine that backyard just covered in snow.
Right.
You'd just be sitting there going, what a waste.
You said it. And next time we go look at a house and you get, you know, the light up eyes, the heart eye emojis, I'm going to replay that little snippet soundbite for you.
This is when I wish we had a computer sharing so that you could see, we could do some picture reviews.
One day, if we buy that house,
in the new house that we've got the space for.
So yeah, pretty early on into that journey, but of course we'll keep you updated. But there were some other to-dos on our list this summer that I feel like I want us to commit to. Like, we have this summer to get this done.
Yeah.
And yours is you have to get a driver's license.
I know. I really hope no local police ever watch this podcast because I really, really, really have to get my driver's license.
We did the mock test how many weeks ago?
I know. For the record, I have a legal driver's license in the United Kingdom, and it was valid in the US. But now that I'm a permanent resident of the state of Ohio, I'm expected to get a state driver's license, and I still have not got one.
And you know what's happening, because I'm also reading this book. My dad gave me this book about it's about like following your dreams, but it's also about how to loosen up your time. And because you are spending so much time hyperfixating on finding a house in the blink of an eye, you have put to the back burner actually
Everything
getting something
else.
that is super important, like getting a valid driver's license.
Story of my life.
So maybe I need to pull the wife card and tell you I will not look at another house until you have a valid driver's license.
That would be mean, but that affects you as well. So I feel like you wouldn't do that.
I would. I'm not in any rush to leave this house that we're currently in.
I mean, look at this. You got this camera and light taking up my whole office right now. You're going to have, you know what's going to happen? You're going to need to record your part on Wednesday and you're going to have to move this yourself. And then you're going to be like,
tomorrow.
You're going to tell me, make an offer on that house. We're done with this.
Yeah, I guess.
Seriously, though, hit us up on Instagram if you have any advice about our home situation.
And do you know what I need to do by the end of the summer? You know, because I told you 2 days ago. You don't have to pretend like you don't know.
No, I can't remember because I told you that it's not going to matter. Why did I tell you it's not going to matter?
Seriously? You don't remember?
I don't remember. We literally spoke about it the other day.
We've been married for almost 2 years.
You have to change your last name.
I have not changed my last
But
name.
you have a get out of jail free card. It will complicate the home buying process if you change your name now. So don't change it. Do not change it, please.
I want to be married.
You are married. You got the ring. You got the license. Your mom calls you Morgan Preston. So that's what matters right now. When the home is closed, when we move in, when that's all done, we'll change it.
I do want to know, though, like, on average.
How many people don't change it?
Yeah, how long does it take a bride to change their last name? I'm going on 2 years of not having legally changed my last name. Like, am I insane?
It's one of those things that you should do immediately because it will just drag on. And I mean, to be honest, I meant to have updated my social security card. When I first moved here, I got a social security card that had like a not authorized to work stamp on it. Yeah. And I just haven't updated that because I have a green card now. So
I feel like for women, it doesn't really matter until you have kids because obviously you have to give the kid, you know, your family last name. But I just feel no sense of urgency. Like,
do you feel reluctant to give up right?
Kind of.
Huh.
It just
maybe that's part of it.
It does feel weird that like at age 32, my whole entire life, like that has been my identity. And just because I had this life moment happen, I am supposed to give up that identity to take your last name.
What about Wright Preston?
I don't.
You don't like that?
No.
You know what's interesting to me is that I'm also not in a rush either. Like I don't.
Yeah, it doesn't bother you that I haven't changed my last name.
Yeah.
Has it?
No. I'm just like whatever.
Yeah.
I assume our kids will be Preston. I'm nervous because I know my dad watches this and he's going to be like, no, we got to get the family name going. Keep the family tradition.
No, I want to change it too because this is how I actually know that there's a lot of reasons that I know you're the one for me. I mean, I didn't like anybody. I didn't like anybody really until I loved you. But this is just like, This is like a little God moment. Mm-hmm. What is my professional name?
Oh, Morgan Page.
Yes, but like my handles too.
MPT.
Yeah.
Yeah, Morgan Page.
Page is my middle name.
Right.
So when I changed my last name, I could technically go by Morgan Preston, my real name, and it still fit into the brand that I've already created.
But didn't you use Page because you knew your surname would change?
We weren't engaged then.
Huh.
It was in 2020 that I started it. We were just freshly dating, trust me, having many conversations about what our future was going to be, where we were going to live, all the things. In 2020, you did not know that we were going to get married.
Yeah, but I feel like you picked Morgan Page because of a branding
No,
play.
I actually picked it because, I have a radio background and a lot of people don't actually use their real first and last name for privacy purposes.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of like whenever I was working in radio, I only went by Morgan. I didn't have like a middle name or a last name. But there was a time like when I was just getting started in my broadcast career where I was sitting with a mentor of mine and she was giving me like 10 fake last names.
Oh, interesting.
And it was like Morgan, Marshall, because that's where I went to school. Morgan, whatever. We like came up with a whole bunch of them. I'm like, nah, I'm just going to be Morgan.
And then Morgan Page stuck later.
Yeah.
Well, I mean...
Well, also, actually, you didn't know this, but my mom told me whenever I was like, my handle was always Morgan PW. And so Morgan P Talks just kind of came from that.
I remember that.
But also, my mom told me when I was born, she wanted to give me a Hollywood name, is what she said. And she's like, Morgan Page just sounds Hollywood. And I don't know, maybe it
How
does,
did she
maybe
know
it
you were
doesn't.
going to get into this industry?
I don't know, but when I was doing all that, I was like, oh, okay. And now it could easily just turn into Morgan Preston.
Well, you've got till the end of the summer. Actually, no, you're not allowed to do it. I'm putting a stop to that.
Not until we one day reproduce.
Okay. Is that the new timeline? Okay.
I guess so. Or until after we get the house, once that's all done and dusted. But you know what turns me off from it? The admin. You got to get all your credit cards changed. You got to get your ID changed. You got to get everything changed.
And we're going to open up a bunch of new utilities at a new house. So maybe once the house closes, change it, then open new utilities.
Then we got to do it all over again?
No. I'm saying close on the house, as in like finalize the house purchase. And then before we open new utility accounts at a new address, change it then.
Okay. I can't believe you've been wearing that bucket hat for 25 straight minutes and I just act like it's not happening.
I think it's pretty cool.
Should we get to the Seriously Award of the Week?
Yeah, you got one?
I really wish that I would have recorded this because what happens is David and I will do something and we will be dying laughing at something. And then we try to recreate it on the podcast and it's never as funny. It's just kind of awkward. So I feel like that's what's going to happen right now when I tell you what I thought the Seriously Award of the Week should be. But I'm hoping that you'll reenact the moment as if it played out in the moment.
Go on.
Okay. What game did you buy? You randomly bought this card game.
This is classic Dave. We go to Walgreens to pick up like prescription or something. And, you were getting a card for somebody's baby shower.
Yeah.
And I see a little card game. It's like called Scrabble Go or Scrabble, Scrabble Slam or something where you play with 4 cards and you make words and stuff.
Yeah.
It was like $10. I was like, yeah, let's play this tonight.
David always is wanting to do some sort of activity.
Gotta
I'm
have
always
an
wanting
activity.
to bed rot. So like we're not compatible in that. But do you know what word I wrote down for the...
Maybe.
I saw your lips start to move before you.
Maybe. So basically the game is you start by putting a 4-letter word down and then you split the deck between however many players. So it was just Morgan and I. And whenever you see another word that you can make with your cards, you put it down to change the word. So we're obviously playing super, super fast. And we don't know if some words are actual words. So I think something made was, what was down? Like babe or something was down. And you...
No, I can't remember.
I can't remember how we got there, but it was like MEBE. And I was like, maybe.
It was like M-E and then a space and then another E. And you were trying to say maybe. You were trying to put that down.
Maybe.
But what happens with David is when he finds something funny, he doesn't just say it one time. So he went from having like a South African accent to having a French accent to saying
And then every time I put down a word that I wasn't sure was a word, I'd go, maybe it is, maybe it is not, maybe. Highly recommend that game.
Yeah, it was
Top
really
tier
fun,
entertainment.
actually.
We'll
Yeah.
play again tonight.
So I thought that was pretty funny. It made me laugh. And I said that's going to be the Seriously Award of the Week.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is not.
Maybe we'll see if we have any podcast reviews. It's gonna depress me if we don't. Which
if you listen on Spotify, hit a 5 stars. You don't get to write words on Spotify, unfortunately. Apple Podcasts, hit us up. Cheeky 5 stars.
Oh gosh, we're out here in the slums.
things not going well. Maybe we should stop taking vacations.
Yeah,
and start creating more promotional clips.
Yeah, that's true. So leave us a review if you haven't. A little cheeky 5 stars. If not, whatever.
Instagram at The Seriously Show. Say what's up there, and we'll see you.
And maybe we'll see you next week.
Maybe we won't. Bye.